always tell people, show me a man's bank account, I will show you his priority. On my YouTube channel, where I get like 600,000 people have watched for the month, all the videos across a grand. Why is Mr. Beast that gets about like sometimes like 60-70 million views on one video? Why is it necessary for him to do a Samsung ad in the video? But the problem with influencer culture right now, in my very humble opinion, please don't, my thing is that because there's so many people with 100,000 followers.
Are you allowed to tell us how you prepare for your sets? Do other comedians have writers?
When you get to a Kevin Hart level, there's someone who's writing for you.
Yeah.
There's a team of people.
You can feel that loss.
Yeah, you can see. You can see from the first one-man show to the seventh. There's a crossroads between cancelling and funny.
Yeah.
Cancel culture lives right on that line. So I have to say some crazy things. We should have started cancelling those racists years ago.
Sure.
We say we have, but we still at these braais laughing at those jokes and not saying, no one's been cancelled in comedy yet.
Yeah, give me all your attention. One time for the misfits. Through the doors open on the highway. I promise you don't want to miss this.
Wow, we've had a really beautiful week this week, and to top it all off, we've got somebody who's changing the culture of comedy, somebody who's pioneering comedy, and somebody who's been so nice to reply to our message and actually send the lift back down, if I can say that. Alfred Adriaan.
No, hey, thanks guys. Thanks for having me. First off, I think the podcast looks correct.
Thank you.
I looked at the podcast. That's how I choose these things. I don't go to all of them.
Is it?
I know a lot of you have asked. I'm sorry. But these guys are, you must look at the production quality.
Thank you.
See. Yeah. So thanks for having me.
Cool. We really like what you're doing in the comedy space, and I recall the first time I came across you, I was on TikTok, and I was like, whoa, who's this guy? Where's he been? Because it was just, I think we just got out of lockdown when I first saw you.
Yeah.
And I was like, where you been? And then me and my dad were always sending each other your videos.
Okay.
So it was one of those TikTok ones where we're sending it, and then there's the recent one that you did where my dad says it's me because you say,
is that sorry?
Is that
that's
you?
my fault.
Is that you? No problem.
And I.
No, it's all right.
cool.
It's all right.
Sorry,
and it was funny because they sent it to me. So I went to a school that was like a private school out of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Going to a private school, obviously, the way you speak, you don't sound like the people around your suburb, you know?
Yeah.
And it was very funny because you said the same thing about your son, eh? With
I
his
know.
accent.
He's Peppa Pig, bruh. He's from London. He's from London. That bruh is a different, but also like he lives in a different world from us. You know? Like it's weird. Like to be a parent is a strange thing. You start seeing what your parents went through. Because I lived in a very different world from my dad. You're trying to keep up. You're trying to give the kid everything, but you're also trying to keep him grounded in your culture, but it's so hard. It's so hard. My boy is the only colored boy in his class.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
It's difficult for me because I struggle with that because I go like, oh, good man, he's seeing the world and the diversity, but he's the only one.
Yeah.
He's the beauty
And
spot.
kids, you'll see with children, they naturally just veer to people that look like them. And so he's always, I feel a little sad because he always seems to be like sucking up to get attention from groups that he's always on the periphery of. It's weird. But anyway, it's a deeper conversation.
Yeah, and your growing up was obviously different.
Bro, I come from public. You know, when they gave you the food at school. You know that?
wow.
They gave us coffee, my friend. They gave us a coffee with a government biscuit. You know government biscuit?
No,
you got to dip
The one that comes in the barrel.
They all come in boxes. You got to dip it for 7 minutes. It doesn't absorb any moisture the first 3 minutes.
Okay.
You break teeth. Don't fuck it. But the thing is that it always tastes like peanut butter, but there's no peanut butter on. I don't know if it's a peanut butter flavor. But yeah, I'm from public school.
Yeah.
And from rural Eastern Cape public school. So very nice upbringing, like middle class in a very poor town. Or I hate to use the word poor because it implies that people are a certain way. But there's a lot of challenges where my hometown has a lot of challenges. And that's a different world to come from. And it's what makes me the person I am today. I'm like very, very fortunate to come from, listen to my story. If you really unpack it, it's small town, very like poor colored neighborhood. My father's got the shop in town. My mother's the teacher. In the shop, I start working at a very young age. So I interact with adults very, very early in my life. And I see realities. People turning around with money, going like, oh, we don't have enough. Adults, we don't have enough for this cheese, whatever that is. You see that stuff. And then your father takes you and he goes, listen, you need to go to a Model C school. Pulls you out of this space. You go and stay with your granny and them. We create a whole different dynamic. And then you go to Afrikaner school, like Afrikaans Model C school. Now my best friends, they are Franco, Anu. Now it's different. Now at the party, people are looking. Where I was and now I'm the guy like everyone's weird about. We're the first ones to come out. And be in mixed schools.
Big difference there, yeah?
There's that growth. The teacher, you can see the teacher struggling. There's a teacher. It was a big grens. You know what I mean? This is messing him up a little. So you're trying to, and God bless them, they tried their best. I actually spoke at my school at the 70th
that's
anniversary.
awesome.
Amazing.
Then you go from there, and I get a scholarship to UCT, fail horribly. What for? Business science.
Ooh, that's hot though. We understand.
It's hot. The temperature's high there. And I needed sunscreen. That didn't work. Deal with failure, come back to Port Elizabeth, finish at the University of Port Elizabeth, then move to Joburg, not Cape Town. All my friends moved to Cape Town. Now the culture in Cape Town is beautiful, it's lovely, but me coming to Joburg shaped me differently. It's like I've got like if I went to Cape Town, I look at all my friends that went to Cape Town, they all have, and God bless them. I also have those friends. We stick to our own. A lot of them have colored friends, white friends, right? When you come to Joburg, the dynamics change a little. The power is shifted more towards, like, you see a lot more wealthy, intelligent, forwardly mobile, Zulu, Pedi, black people. So now all my friends are black guys.
Black diamonds.
Yes,
Black
I grew up in that time. So like all my friends are, I laugh now because I was at my best friend's wedding, Temba. And Temba's wedding is in Soweto. And I sit at this table and I tell my wife, I said, I started out with these boys. And that guy is the head of the biggest energy drink in the country. That guy is the head of finance for a big financial firm. I'm not saying it's Alan Gray. I'm just saying it's something like Alan Gray. And then like this one is, like all of them have done really well. And so I'm in that world, and then I bring all those things together on stage. People don't really recognize it, like a lot of people. So it's diverse. So if you look at how my audience has shifted, my audience has gone from my people who I love, mostly colored people, but you see now that that Afrikaner thing is coming in.
It is.
The Zulu people coming to the show.
I've got to Google what you're saying sometimes.
Yes. Because I mix it up.
Durban, KZN.
It's tough to do the Afrikaans.
It's different, you know what I mean? I got 30% for Afrikaans in matric. You know what I mean? But when was that moment in your life where people were like, you know what, you're actually funny?
Where did it all start?
Where did it start?
You know, I think that, like, I'm going to give you guys the deep answers. All of these things come from a level of struggle. It's because I was a very shy boy. Now when people say, oh, you're shy, no, how? In fact, most comedians, the good ones, were probably shy.
Introverts.
It's a mechanism. We built up this clown or I hate the word clown because it's not clowning. You build the personality up to protect your feelings. So I'm in a town where everyone's rough and kids are like boisterous and wild and, you know, and I'm shy. So then I started figuring out, like, I can make people laugh. I can make adults laugh. I like the feeling of making people laugh. Then I started building that personality. Now you veer towards that. And that shaped me a lot in terms of how my funny comes out. So jump years ahead, I never thought I'd become a comedian, but I was always funny. People always, at offices, I'd make people laugh. I enjoyed making people laugh. I still try and make the cashier laugh at the checkout. I still do that.
That sounds very much like this guy. Very much like this guy.
I've also, exactly what you said speaks to me because I've always felt shy, right? But people always say you're not shy. Why are you lying? But it's similar to what you're doing. Because when I was younger, I was the chubby kid, and you've got to find you've got to find that tough skin, and you've got to make people like you somehow. Because physically they don't like you, but they like the chats.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
So that's it. That's how you develop. You like it's like water down a river, man. You find the road that challenges you less with your personality.
Sure.
So like why go and like everyone wants to be liked. So like I found the way for me was some guys have sports. He doesn't have to have much of a personality.
Yeah.
He plays a rugby ball and everyone likes it.
For sure.
So I had the funny thing. And then years gone by, I found myself in a day job, did all the BComs, finished the BCom, did that stuff, and then realized, listen, life is not getting longer. I hate this job.
Sure.
That's quite a moment.
I hate this job. I've known I hate the job for years. I was just like, the worst part is that we come from a time and I come from a world where you just work. You work hard, you don't give up. And I've got a lot of that. It's my strength and my weakness. So I used to work and to be good at this thing. That's the worst part. To be good at it. Imagine you hated this podcast and you have to come and do it with me all the time. And then you're like, I'm doing it. It's a prison.
And you get
to be good at stuff you don't like to do. It's a prison for years because they keep on giving you money for something. They reward you for the things you don't like. Oh, it's horrible.
I read a quote that said, your monthly paycheck is the bribe they pay you to forget your dreams.
Dame Dash. He said that. Dame Dash. That's the truth.
And they give you a nice 43 years of service.
Here's a gold
pizza.
watch. There's a gold-plated watch and let's move on.
There you go.
And there was a day that hit me. Because my father was always, because he had a business. So people that he only knows insecurity of the business. He always used to go, I want you in a secure job, get an education, And I go, Dad, there's no such thing. I can say that with confidence now. Security is an illusion that people tell themselves. There is COVID has taught a lot of people that security is rubbish.
Big time.
I'll never forget it. I came to work one day many, many years ago. I was still working at GlaxoSmithKline. I was in marketing there, excuse me.
Bless you.
It's going to happen 3 times.
Bless you. Okay.
1. So, 2, almost there. Not. I can edit this out.
This is going to stay.
It's back. So I was working for GlaxoSmithKline at the time as the marketing guy for Aquafresh toothpaste. And we came, actually maybe I shouldn't say the company's name, but it's too late now. It's true. We came to work one day and they had to, for whatever reason, retrench people.
Okay.
And then you walk in and you didn't know there was retrenchment. And this happened to many companies. This day, 54 people had to go.
Wow.
And these are not necessarily people in the prime. These are people in their 50s, 40s. Then I had such a fright because I was like, sure, they can take this away. Eh? I'm so dependent on this job. I'm so dependent on this check. I need to pay this car. I had a little German car those cars are the trappings that keep you in these horrible jobs. Your credit cards and your
mortgages.
debt. You can't leave.
Yeah, because
you
you're
start
stressing.
going, this is a fragile house of cards. Yeah. And that's what also part of that motivated me to go, listen, if I can start my own thing. I've always been about dictating my own income.
For sure.
Even in the beginning of stand-up, I wasn't in a great position because no one knew who I was. I was a good comic. I do clubs and kill. Headline everywhere. But I was making my basic income from corporate gigs. So corporate gigs are you go and MC a golf day or whatever, and they pay you well for that. But you're the flavor of the day. You're the guy they pass around and go, listen, this guy is good. He's good, but he's not necessarily no one's asking for me. So it's just because I'm good at this and I'm waiting for a check. So now agents recommending me. So then I was like, wait, man, if I fight with this agent, no more recommendations, it's over.
So once again, it's on them. Yeah.
I also hated, so I needed to take control. TV was a different thing again. You want to be in TV, everyone's in TV, they want to do an ad, they want to do, comedians think that if they're on TV, somehow that will translate to them becoming good comedians. It doesn't, not at all. It's just another job. You might as well work in KFC. It doesn't matter because you're not presenting yourself as the thing that you want to sell. You are now a banker in a movie or you were in an ad and you get a check, and maybe you get that endorphin rush from someone going, hey man, I know you from that ad, but how does that translate into, stand up selling tickets?
Yeah.
So that's how the whole online thing came about. I started doing online stuff because one, I find it very interesting. Two, I wanted to build an audience that I could speak directly to be able to sell them tickets when I am ready to sell them tickets. And an audience is way more loyal than these companies are. Everyone moves. We've seen the history that people move through the art thing.
For sure.
There's an art track, everyone does.
Sure.
Everyone at every India function is using that artist.
Yeah.
And then 6 years later, you go, that guy
Yeah.
is broke.
Yeah.
It's because he was focused too heavily on these corporates where you're supposed to be focused heavily on your public so that the public keeps on informing those corporate events and stuff.
What's the conversation like with your wife when you're like, listen, I can't do this corporate gig anymore. This is the direction I want to go.
Yeah.
Because there's obviously a question of, okay, so where's the money going to come from?
Yeah. Very good question.
So how's that? What's that conversation
Because you're the man
like?
of the house as well.
As you
I must always go, be very practical, be very real. You have to pay the bills. My kid goes to schools. I've got two. But I also built my life in a very, I'm very planned. I'm very, I think forward. So like years ago, before I met Natalie, I was already a strong stand-up comedian. I was already doing corporates. I was still in my day job. But before we had a kid, we got engaged. While we were engaged to get married, a couple of months out, I left that day job. And so at this stage, the girl has already seen me do well on stage. She sees me doing stand-up. I've never asked her for a cent. Life is pretty soft around me. I've already got my stuff set up. So when I go, listen, I'm leaving this job. I'm just going to focus on the comedy. It wasn't much. I still give her credit for going, cool. My wife's very supportive. Yeah. But also at this time already, things are already sort of taken shape a little. So now, the thing I get sometimes is you can't say no. Like sometimes I get offered huge sums of money to do things that are against what I'm about. And those are the discussions where she goes, but it's so much money, or well, think about it, like any normal person. But then I always tell her, we're not hungry, we've saved enough, my debt's paid. This is why my debt is paid, so that I can say no to these numbers, because this is a slow road to the end. When you start saying yes to, like for example, you will never, like I don't play the colored gangster in movies. That is a part that has been overdone.
Overplayed.
Now there's guys that have done that very well. Respect to them. But I feel like in our communities, we see too much of that. And that has become what other cultures see us as. And it's not true. 95% of our community are great people trying to get the kids through school. Solid, everyday people. Just like in every other culture, there's a couple of rotten apples, if you wanted to say it that way. But for us, that stereotype is thick. So I go, this is not helping my people go forward. I do enough terrible jokes. I don't want to contribute that way. I also don't want to do things where my kid's got to Google me and he sees me in a compromising thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. These things live on the internet forever. This thing is never going away.
Exactly.
Whatever I say it's printed.
And they'll definitely see you guys. Can you hear that?
It's a fire alarm.
It's the load shedding.
That's when you bring the heat.
Can you hear it through the mic, Stan?
When I was in my late 20s, 29, 30, I figured something out here in Joburg. Girls don't respond to you, look too casual.
Really?
Yeah, that age group, they don't respond to you. They look at you, he's another Joe. Yeah. So that in my time, now I think that might be different, right?
Not similar.
Then I went one day after work, I went straight from work with like the work fancy shit on, the cardi. You know the standard, it used to be a Hilton wind-up pants, a cardigan, tie, that thing. Straight to that time fashion TV was still a thing. Go to the fashion TV. Hey, bruh, people are way more responsive now.
Really?
Then I go, I could pick it up. I go, okay. Then I fucking Friday, Saturday, Sunday started wearing jackets,
Yeah.
shirt, looking like these fucking Italian ones. The way I used to clean up.
Yeah.
Because they look at you like you money now. And perception is a thing, bro.
Yeah. True.
So I get that thinking, but you must.
Such good conversation.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's
Carry on.
fine. Perception is a thing.
Yeah.
They fucking, what's his name? I used to I used to dress up. We used to look fly. But like, if you suit up, I figured out that was my thing. Then later on, now you see these kids doing these things and you understand it. But I've realized the older you get, money. I'll tell you exactly how money looks. Money looks smart.
Yeah.
But money isn't. It is a reason why it's not crazy. Money looks like a Honda Ballad, very well kept.
Yeah.
SUV, maybe she's driving. The wife is driving an X5, but from 7 years ago.
Yeah.
They just kept it.
Yeah.
And
That's
they just take
real.
care of it.
Like the Muslim bras in KZN with the most bag are driving the Toyota Corollas.
You
Yes.
see.
You know the wealth is
see.
thick. Once you see a white
Yeah.
Toyota Corolla, a silver one.
Yeah.
Because he understands, unlike us that don't have money, he understands.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not speaking for me, I'm speaking for myself. When I had no money, now like in credit in debt, it took me years to have to pay off that debt to figure out what the opportunity cost is of having the car at that interest rate.
Sure.
Because now my mind shifts to going like, I can buy my family a new car, but this car can take us through. But what are my real goals? Okay, I want my kids to both go through great schools.
Yeah.
I want my house to be paid off in 5 to 6 years. How do we achieve that?
Yeah.
Not by giving the bank 15 to 17% on a credit card. Because the interest kills you and people don't understand how much interest is.
Interest is the killer.
That's the thing. So I'm giving up a lot to have this car.
Sure.
So now I'm thinking very differently now. I'm going like, how do I get my kids a little bit of legacy money when I die?
Yeah, sure.
Leave them with property. What can I do with this money?
Yeah.
And that's why rich people are like that. It's because they understand the opportunity. It's not because they don't want those cars. It's because they understand the opportunity cost of having that car. Because they've had those things. You know what I mean? Like most of my friends that have money will go, nah man, I bought this car. Here we go.
Carry on.
So I bought this car because I can, I've got this other plan, or I want to start a podcast, and so we bought all this gear, and this gear is going to make us real money. You know, that's what it comes down to. You start seeing the older you get, the more you look nice, but you want what's important to you. I always tell people, show me a man's bank account. I will show you his priorities.
The bank account or the statement?
The statement.
Yeah, the
You know,
bank
showed me
statement.
the statement.
Yeah.
If you are popping bottles, you are a child, and you have kids at home. Nah, you're not a good father. Tell you for free. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I can tell you, if you are spending or traveling a lot, I can see where if you guys are spending money on traveling for business and whatever, I can tell where your priorities is.
Yeah.
Money tells you, people's money tells you. Their mouths say one thing and their money tells you
We
something
just had
else.
this conversation in the lift now, eh?
Yeah.
When you're gonna go get Alfred, eh?
We were like,
yo,
it's been pricey.
it's like we've had to change our routines of life now with the startup business, where we're like, yo, our debit orders are going off now.
Yeah.
This week we're gonna have to live quiet for the
Yeah,
next
you
2
must
weeks.
live
We've got to
quiet.
be quiet, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the debits are coming, the car's going, the travel's going,
Yeah.
and then XYZ, we've got to pay this, and now we're looking to tour here to get more guests. So
And you're doing the right stuff. This is the stuff that pushes the needle. It's very much where I am as well. It's not like you'll see my vlogs are going to take a shift because I've started to realize that I can't be like every other guy. So yesterday I did a video where I surprised my dad with he's always wanted to go to London. So he's never been able to go to London because life was tough and kids and all this. So I'm going to put more budget behind my vlogs because I want it to be something people want to watch rather than the everyday mundane stuff. And so You have to invest in your business to see that growth.
For sure.
The only way I'm going to get those people to watch is if I put interesting content out. And interesting content is often on the other side of a paycheck. Sometimes you got to pay people. You're not going to get into, for example, you see all these American guys, they do these things like, a very extreme example is this Mr. Beast. Bro has a $4 million budget per video.
And he just hands it out.
He hands it out, but he's turning over 81 to $100 million a year on top of that. So like you've got to invest into your business, into your future. What worries me about our generation trying to build these businesses with no support. And when I say support, there's no legacy money. Most of us don't have the luxury of family members being able to assist when things fall apart. There's not, you see it, the mental health aspect. It's hot in this pot, eh?
There's so much, pressure.
It's hot when you have kids, family, and you're trying to build a podcast that is world class.
For sure.
How do you scrape the money? How do you move the stuff around? And also, I mean, rest in peace. You think about Ricky Rick. Ricky Rick had a cotton fest. It was I always went to bed at night after what happened, and I felt so, because I met him once and he was a sweetheart, very clever guy. But I go like, the amount of stress that people are under, and I feel it with myself, to try and make these startup businesses work.
Sure.
Can you imagine the scale of a cotton fest?
Yeah.
Trying to find the financing for that.
Yeah.
Trying to pay your kids' school fees.
Yeah.
Trying to get the artists to perform. And imagine that kind of pressure for years and years and years.
Eventually it tips.
Of course, man.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, it's rough. We look at all of the guys that have had mental health issues.
And men just box it in, dude. Like it's not as easy for a man to come out and...
Dude, even if you're not boxing it in, even if your wife knows, for example, I've got friends that, like, I can see, like, I can feel it on myself, where I go, like, I'm in deep here. I've been in spaces where I'm in so deep, where I go, like, like, it's all I'm thinking about.
Sure.
I'm feeling horrible. And people, even if they wanted to help me, like, I've had family members go, listen, if you need money for this project to finish up or whatever, we can help you. To the point where even you guys are putting pressure on me now, because now you're feeling sorry for me and I don't want that. Then I go, get frustrated. I told one of my family members, I said, listen, understand me when I say this, that I don't want to drag you into this. You think you're being very cool now, but the truth is, do you have 150K for me? If you don't, you're just adding to my stress.
Please, yeah.
150K you can burn in the driveway, because I can't guarantee I'm going to give it back. Because that's what this is.
Yeah, that's exactly
I'm taking
it.
risks out here, and you are offering me, and thank you, but you're adding to my stress here, bro, because now I feel like my family members are obligated. It's sad. And if you borrow me this money, it's going to be worse, bro. You're making the problem worse.
How do you climb out of it, though? When you've been in deep?
You have to be innovative, and for me, I can only speak for myself. I've been in situations where we are in such desperate times that I had to start selling stuff in the house. My parents don't even know about, because I'm an adult, right? I mean, I made these decisions.
Sure.
And I was just fortunate that the ideas that I've had has made sense and has worked, and I'm a doer. I tell people that's my biggest asset. I've got a supportive wife and I'm a doer. I'm not a guy that, like this is what I like to see. That's why I invest time in people like you guys. You guys are from Durban, we in Joburg right now. It takes in a huge amount of effort and money to get out here to do a podcast.
We appreciate that.
And that intention is what... everyone has ideas. People think ideas are worth... People come to me all the time with, bro, I've got this new business idea. I get angry because I go, you came with an idea. Ideas mean nothing to me. Bring me the biscuit when it's done. Then ask me, how can we take it further? But stop coming to me with ideas, because do something. Do something. So my big thing is to get myself out of stuff. I did stuff. In COVID, when we were in real trouble, online show, shooting it myself so that that the agent don't keep, because they would... Most of those online shows, people are not telling you the truth about. Those studios were taking 40% of people.
Oh.
And they weren't saying that to you.
Okay.
Because the artists didn't have the savvy or the technical insight to know they're being taken for a ride. There were people posing as, no, we can do this. And I know, because I'm at the back end of, I try and know my business from the top to the bottom. I don't want a day to come where, like for example, great example, we were in Bloemfontein, and I've got a sound, the organized sound there, great sound people. But for some reason, one night, the sound guy is just nowhere to be found. Just the gear, it's not there, nothing's set up, and it's now like almost an hour before the show. That should have happened in the afternoon.
Yeah. Sound check and all that stuff.
I said to I drive around with a guy called Eric Jansen, as a friend of mine. I said, Eric, come with me. I've always got sound with me. I had 4, I pull out my sound, put it up, put on a mixer. I said, you sit here, here's a phone, connect this thing, play the song when I come in. No one noticed.
You see?
Wow.
That's because I cannot have you own me.
Yeah, there we go.
I need to know everything. I edit my own videos.
Wow.
I shoot my own videos. With my shows, I do everything top to bottom. I don't take public bookings. I take bookings if you want me for a private event and I give you a bill, or for your corporate, for your whatever your function is. But that's a billing I do. Then I rock up and I plug and play. I'm doing one of them later.
There we go.
But public shows, my public, I do those shows because the money is in producing the show from the top to the bottom. So the reality is, if I've been by other people in now, the agent must get the venue must get 20% off the back, right? Then the agent must get 20%.
You see now.
Then the sound and lighting guy wants 25 grand or 15 grand, whatever the size of the venue is. Then the ticketing people want 7.5% or 3%, whatever that is. By the time you get home, 100,000 rand becomes 40K. Or 30K.
If you're lucky, yeah.
Travel, accommodation,
Tax.
roadie,
Tax.
tax people that do my tax for. So at the end of the day, I looked at it like, that's why people die broke. Because a lot of artists don't have any business acumen. So they're fantastic business artists, but they're not good business people.
There's a lot you got to cover and cover and cover.
So in lockdown, a lot of that stuff I did myself. We shot my special, which I wasn't very happy with it, but I needed to do something because there was no money coming in. And we were getting to a bad place.
That's the thing with artists. Yeah.
So these guys were shooting those big shows, but other people were doing it for them. And they were making a pittance of what they could have made.
It's like you're a puppet, eh?
Yeah.
It's like you're
If you don't know what's happening in your business, if you don't know if you are a farmer, that's why a farmer is a great example. You'll see a farmer knows exactly how that tractor works. He knows how to fix that pipe there. I was taught that in my dad's business. My dad had a general dealer. I knew how to open and close the thing. I knew how to work that time they had ISCOM machines that you used to buy the power. I knew how to work the lotto. I knew how to check statements. I knew how to work the till. There were people that did that for us.
But you had to know.
When you don't come into work, now my business must fall apart. So I learned that from there. So that's why I'm so pedantic about all that stuff. That's how you dig yourself out of these holes. Action. Not ideas so much as action. You can have a great idea with no action means nothing.
Yeah, sure.
It's a zero something.
So during COVID, right? It was a hard time to be an artist in South Africa. You were at home, you couldn't do gigs, you couldn't do shows. For me, that's when I started hearing your name and seeing your content most. Was that what inspired you to say, listen, I'm going to push this comedy thing even further? Because I've followed you and your followers doubled, tripled,
kept on
doubled,
going.
grew, and it keeps doing that on social media. So do you think that was can I call it the explosion? COVID?
That was definitely the big break for me. It didn't look like it though. It was a very weird thing because I'd been doing videos for years before that.
Sure.
I had a catalog. By the time COVID hit, I was a stand-up comedian for 8 years professionally as only a stand-up. I left my day job.
Really?
So no one, I do corporate gigs from one to the next. And if I didn't get corporates, that's why I was like, this time of the year, October, November, I love them because I was busy. I piled up some money. Then my January is quiet and hopefully conference season comes in and I'll be emceeing everything. I was an animal. I was an animal at that. But I still didn't have a public following. And that's where my weakness was, like I explained earlier. So now what happened was in COVID, the first day, I could see it coming. Me and my brother had long conversations and I was like, this thing's going to go on forever. Me and Jason Goliath had a lot of conversations because we're very like-minded that way. We were very good friends. And I said, listen, bro, how long do you think this? I said, bro, this is a year.
Yeah.
Then people were still under the delusion of, oh no, it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And then the day after that first day they announced lockdown level 5, the first big lockdown, the next day I lost all my gigs. I got 17 gigs were cancelled the next day.
Gone.
My wife loses her job. My wife loses her job in the weirdest way. Not loses her job. She had to resign.
Yeah.
But it was like there was no choice. So she was the head of ops for a business and they cut their salaries by 50% very quickly.
Why? COVID. Yes.
You know, people just got cut.
Yeah.
Then she still worked there hard from home, blah, 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 blah. Then they called her in and she had to always relay the bad news to her staff. And then she called her in and they said, listen, we got to do a 70% cut.
No.
And Owens were doing scaly things because I think that business was they paid out their bonuses to the execs just before they started doing that.
Come on.
You know, people were doing scaly things.
Yes.
So she then goes, listen, man, it's 70%. My wife still wants to go into work. I said, listen, I know we have no income here. But we have no income anyway. 30% is not enough money to make my wife go into an office and sit there alone. Because she was going to be alone in the office because she was the senior person.
Yeah.
And they wanted her at the office for some reason.
Rubbish.
I go, my wife there alone, I don't trust no security. I said, I will pay them 30% that I don't have to keep you at home. Then she woke up the next day, resigned, started selling clothing. I'd already started doing video again, but I picked up because I've always had the mentality. I was sat there and I was like laughing the way I was in trouble. But I was like, there's an opportunity in this. I just need to figure it out. And then I was like, I'm doubling down on these videos. And I doubled down on these videos because everyone was in front of a screen.
Yeah.
And that stuff started kicking.
Viral.
And then, but it made me no money.
Yeah.
I had no income for COVID out of a video. I never make any. There's still today, if I had to stop doing just comedy stuff and corporate stuff and other business things, and I just had the videos to depend on, I wouldn't be able to pay this month's bond.
Wow.
That's how little money comes out of monetizing videos.
I was just about to say, don't you get monetization on those
Very
videos?
little.
Really?
Very, very little.
Yeah.
You could have let me give an example. On my YouTube channel, where I get it's not my biggest channel. I get 100,000 views. 100,000 people viewed the video. Or not 100,000, it's more like 600. Yeah, 600,000 people have watched for the month. All the videos across the $1,000.
No.
Why do you think YouTube is so lucrative? They are giving you if they're placing an ad for a bottle of water, they are giving you less than, I don't know, it's points of a cent.
Points of a cent, yeah.
They're not in the business of making you wealthy. There's no real money in for the guys that are getting millions and millions of views, yes. But still, those guys are still making. We mentioned Mr. Beast. Why is Mr. Beast that gets about sometimes 60, 70 million views on one video?
Yeah.
Why is it necessary for him to do a Samsung ad in the video?
Yeah.
If the AdSense was where the money was at.
Yeah.
The money is in
Sponsors.
the audience.
The audience, yes.
And the power of that. That's why I'm so careful with my audience. I don't say yes to everything. You'll see on my mention a video where I said, oh, this video was brought to you by.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist. Because I say no to most of them. Because one, they don't want to pay you. Two, they are getting way too much for the money that they are willing to pay you.
Yeah.
And most of the times, for me to do that kind of work, our ethics need to align.
Yes.
Because my audience is more important than this
For sure.
bag you want to give me right now. I'm not alienating my audience for nothing. So my audience, for example, I've been approached by businesses to do things like, what was the recent one? Yeah, bonds. So I'm not going to call the people out, but they wanted me to do an ad for their bond company. Then I was like, but this is not the best bond in the business. These people are not great. So, no thanks.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to do is take your money and tell my people that I support you or endorse you. And then those people move over to you.
Because you've got
and I
influence.
leave them in shit street.
Because you've got influence there.
Exactly.
It's similar to what Kerry said when we interviewed her. Kerry Miller, she's a radio personality down in KZN. She said she's all big on health and wellness, and she was promoting takeout and eating unhealthy all the time. And she only realized it when she got into yoga and she spoke to people and she saw they did exactly what she said in front of them.
Oh, yeah.
And she said she was probably doing that when she was broadcasting as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're selling a dream.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody falls for it and now...
And the relationship between us and them are way closer than what a radio ad could ever be. They believe us as humans, as a person. They don't think that, like, my audience trusts me. So when I say, I got great service at this coffee shop, they go. And I've tested it. I did a video for a sneaker brand in the early days in COVID. And I said, let's just see how strong it is. Because I like the brand. They were solid. They did help my ankles, blah, blah, blah. I did a video. I asked him, because they never want to show you the numbers. I said, okay, cool, you can't show me the numbers, but give me a promo code for my stuff. So anything that clicks through to your online page from my video, just show me that gross income. 110,000 Rand in a day.
What?
So
And they were offering me 3 grand for that.
No, you see, that's the problem there.
Now you see, that's why I cut
You
ties
should be like 30% on sales using my promo code.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what you should be doing there is you should actually ask them to make a new sneaker for you. Vusi actually spoke about it. He says, with these guys, what you need to do is partner up and collab.
Yeah.
And it needs to be an Adrian, the
Alfred
Adrian shoe with that promo code, and then now you get those are new sales.
If you
That's
do
what it
one
should
with
be.
Lacoste or Fabian, you'll make Durban colored boys shake.
And this is the difficulty with influencer culture.
Yeah.
Right now. I'm a marketing guy. I come from a very high level of marketing work in my day. But to finish my thought on how I made my money in lockdown, my money I made from consulting for banks and marketing. So I put on my old marketing hat that I hated, and I wrote ads. I performed in ads, produced those ads, and I sold them as an agency.
Wow.
And that's how I made it through. And we sold stuff, and my wife sold stuff, and then we scraped together and we took payment.
Well done.
And that's how we did that. Yeah. That's how you get out of trouble. You do things. You think that you don't overthink it, you do the things.
Yeah.
But the problem with influencer culture right now, in my very humble opinion, please don't. My thing is that because there's so many people with 100,000 followers, everybody now, especially on TikTok, and bless their hearts. I mean, we're getting content that we've never seen before. For average Joe guys that are brilliant, right?
Funny boys.
But those people don't necessarily understand their value.
Yeah.
So, and how your personal brand is built is a bit of a tricky thing. So, for example, if a guy like myself, the reason I say no to everything is because I know 110K in a day, bro. You're offering me 3 grand here. You know how many influencers are giving away ad space on their pages for free sneakers, free meals worth hundreds of thousands of rands.
For sure.
I used to work in marketing. A billboard on the highway will cost you from 80 to 120,000 rand. People in the public don't know this.
Yeah.
That billboard doesn't move the needle for the brand half as much as when Alfred Adriaan says, I love this Coke.
And that's what's happening.
Not half. And then they're not willing to give me 25 grand in. I'm like, there's a disconnect.
The maths is not
I'll
mathsing.
give you guys time to catch up. But when you're ready, come to me.
Come have the
I'll go to my
conversation.
public. I'll go and make my money somewhere else. But I'm not going to have my public be abused with ads when we're not even aligned with the financial stuff here.
So, like being in comedy, sometimes you get out on stage and you kill it.
Yeah.
Was there that show that you did that you can remember where you said, wow, I'm actually doing something? Like that moment you realize greatness.
Man, I can remember the bad ones. Remember the bad ones all the time. Sometimes the audience doesn't even know it's a bad one.
Yeah.
Because they just experiencing a professional. Now I say, what a professional is? A professional is a guy that can do Like, let's make examples of a trick shot.
Yeah.
A professional, or it's a basketball. I get lucky with a half-court shot. Steve Curry is expected to make it. He makes it on a bad day. He makes it on flu days. He makes it. That's a pro. So like an audience will look at the show and go, that was great, but I know. Steph knows. That jumper was lucky. Or whatever. So the audience don't necessarily know you're having a bad day. The good ones, to answer your question, I think there's a couple of milestones that a person hits that you never thought you wanted, but you never thought was realistic for you.
Yeah.
I think that coming up in Joburg comedy, the lyric theater was always a big thing. And so like I always tell people, and I always think of business first, and I have to calm myself down. A lot of my friends, my debut one-man show is gonna be at the lyric theater. That's 1,100 people, boss.
Sure.
Yeah.
On the same night, all coming to see you.
Yeah.
That means your audience must be massive. And so a lot of people with no audience goes and books this very expensive theater and all that. And they end up walking out with minus 25 grand, minus 30K.
Yes.
That's what happens. So I always say this, I'd love to do the lyric theater, but I want to do it the right way. And then last year I did it and we sold out. And this year we sold out twice. And so those are moments where you go, in Cape Town, selling out the Baxter Theatre, 10 nights in a row.
Yes.
That's a mind-blowing thing
big.
because it's a cultural cornerstone in theatre in Cape Town and in the country. So those are moments where you go.
Yeah.
But you only get to enjoy those moments a month after. Because you're so busy trying to make the show great.
Yeah.
That my wife sometimes reminds me, saying, hey, bro, you struggled to sell 60 tickets here 2 years ago. So those things make me emotional even because I go like, she has to remind me to say, listen, bruh, just while you're working, the perspective. Just,
don't forget to look out the window in your journey. Yeah.
Sure. Wow. So those are the moments that make you go like, it makes me weepy every time because I go like, it's an enormous amount of sacrifice.
Sure. Yes. Are you allowed to tell us how you prepare for your sets? Yeah.
The nice part of being your own boss is you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
There's no one here that can stop me. How I prepare my sets is simple. So like I live my life. I try and find experiences. Like everything I do, I try and live as normal a life as possible. It's so important for me not to become people see me at the pub. They see me at the braais. They see me at the rugby games. I don't want this audience to become fanatical. People become fanatical because they never see you in public. And you are this untouchable. Keanu Reeves has done such a great job. He's in the tube and people take a picture here and there. But they let him be. Kanye West can't walk out the front door, bro. And Keanu Reeves is huge.
It's John Wick. He's
Kanye
John
West
Wick.
couldn't even hook up on the boats in Italy, bro. People caught the man
It's
getting
because he doesn't give them access.
Yeah.
It's because he's so cagey about it. So I understand the man's got different things, but I mean, like in my world, when I walk around, I go like, I don't want to be this guy that's like
scarce.
the biggest actor now from Trevor. I've seen it's chaos.
Yeah.
It's chaos because they don't seem out enough for it. So I try and live a regular enough life so that I can have regular interactions, so that I can find material that connects to real people.
Sure.
Okay.
I can't be talking about a yacht.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and for that to work, I have to live my life. So part one, I live a normal life.
Yeah.
I take my kid to school in the morning. I deal with my wife's moods, my moods, my nanny, my parents being this or that. I deal with those things. I don't have an assistant between me and, tell my brother. There's none of that. There's real life so I can get real stories. And two, I write slowly.
Sure.
Okay. Very slowly. The show that I'm bringing out next year, probably in June, I've been writing for 2 years.
Wow.
Some of that jokes come from 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
The show, I've been writing technically for 3-4 years. While I'm doing a show, I'm always noting new things. I don't use that material. I have to be very disciplined because I might have a firecracker thing. But I can't say it in this show because this is next year's properties.
Sure. Okay.
So it takes me time and I write all of it myself. I don't have writers.
Yeah.
So I've tried to get people to help me, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
How do other comedians have writers?
Yeah,
And
comedians
how
have
do they
writers.
work?
Doesn't Trevor have a team who writes for him?
Man, I can't speak for Trevor because I don't know him that well.
Yeah.
But I know this for a fact. Some people have writers. In the event of writers, I think like I've been around Trevor very, very briefly. I'm gonna give the Miss props here. The man has always been very kind to me, despite what the media wants to break you down sometimes because you're that successful. He's been very kind to me, memory like an elephant, and hysterically funny, naturally. So I go like, I don't know how much writing people are doing for you, bruh. Yes, fucking hell's got it, man. Like, you can maybe just tell him about a peanut that you find funny, but he'll make a fucking story out of it. You know what I mean? Guys that are naturally funny. Mark Lottering, just easy.
What about Dylan Oliphant?
Not all of us, most
I
of us
love that
write.
man.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Yo.
Very good friend of mine. Most of us write our own stuff, especially
Yeah.
South Africans. But when you get to a Kevin Hart level, someone's writing for you.
Yo.
There's a team of
But you
people.
can feel that loss.
Yeah, you can see. You can see from the first one-man show to the seventh.
Yeah.
There's a loss because the guys are busy. You can't. Also, he's living on a yacht. He's got to cook.
Yeah.
You must burn him by the oven and
Go to the
Joe
grocery
comes out.
store.
"Ja, my vinger het gebrand." Good comedy comes from day-to-day life. I write it slowly. I make my people have access to me.
Yeah.
I'm not in my family. I don't. Very important. My family is comfortable enough to tell me to jump off a cliff.
Sure.
My brother goes that no one in my world makes me feel famous.
Sure.
And I don't think I'm famous. I think I'm popular. I think famous is something where I think like in South African terms, Nadia Jafta is famous.
Yeah.
Like I think Alfred Adriaan, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've got my tribe.
Yeah.
And it's great. But I don't. Yeah. So just
You've kept it authentic for a long time, and that's what's paying off the most.
Yeah.
You know, I spoke to you earlier, and I said to you, you've got the crowd going, man. I mean, any age group, any category sitting there wanting to wee their pants. How do you keep it going? How do you keep it
from,
going?
bro, I only became popular in my late 30s.
Yeah.
I've lived a whole life with normal people in the queue.
Yeah.
Waiting. With,
Yeah.
You know, like I
affairs.
fucking know life. You know what I mean? I've seen it. I've struggled. And so I got a lot of stuff to pull from real life.
Yeah.
And real life people laugh at real life things.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how it feels to be on a yacht. I've never been on one.
Sure.
So I get people to laugh, and it's that thing I spoke about earlier. I come from all these different backgrounds. I've got Afrikaner friends,
Yeah.
I've got Zulu friends, I've got Xhosa friends, I've got lots of colored friends, I've got colored family. So I come from different cultures. I'm very South African that way. And what you're seeing on the stage is a farm boy that is just shocked. He's always shocked. Like, can you believe this? You know what I mean? It's always so. It's that perspective, and I'm very fortunate now. And I didn't always think this way. I'm fortunate now that I've gotten to live a normal life for a very long time.
And now with you touring internationally, the expats are loving you.
The expats, listen, that's also a thing that I've tried to build from my business side. I don't think I'm way more aggressive outside of the country now because you've got to build. Man, I don't like rolling over a show every year.
Yeah.
Because they're going to become worse and worse and worse. So for me to be able to sustain my family, sustain my business, I need to go like January, February, I'm doing London and Manchester and all those places. But I'm building it outside of the country to those expats so that I can have longer spaces where people can miss me a little.
Yeah.
I don't want them to go, Alfred is coming next week. We know. Like, for example, Cape Town. I love Cape Town because Cape Town's my biggest audience. But in December every year for 3 years, I've done shows.
Yeah.
And this years I'm not doing show.
Oh no.
No,
They're
but
gonna
it's
miss
a good
you.
thing.
Yeah, they're gonna miss
It's a
you.
good thing. They must.
Yeah.
It's a
want
good
you.
thing. It's not just about wanting.
Yeah.
It's also about I don't want to take an audience that's been that good to me.
Yeah.
Subpar product.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I'm not ready for a show.
For sure.
And so it takes tremendous amounts of discipline in speaking to your wife to say, listen, we can't go this December. I just don't feel like we are ready. I think there's more legs in the show still.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
So when I met my wife, she was like, "Oh, you're so funny," and all of that stuff. I'm like, "Yeah, cool. You like my jokes, great."
Yeah.
Then we got married.
Not funny anymore.
And now I'm not funny. Now I am not funny at all.
You boring.
Are you having the same?
I think there's a balance with my wife. Like my wife doesn't laugh at. I don't get free laughs.
Okay.
I don't get free laughs. That's a big
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
So it's not that she hasn't changed. Natalie's a very strong personality, even when we were dating. So the reality is that she thinks I'm funny still, but she won't give me the free laughs. She'll half of the time she'll go, "That's cuck."
Brutal honesty.
That's just terrible. That's terrible.
But you
and
know
most
that-
of the time it's rubbish.
Yeah.
I'm walking around the house,
Yeah.
talking nonsense. It's nonsense. She's not going to give me, no. She never was that
That's
way.
But
the
the
hardest
moment she
crowd.
does, then that's the
That's
one.
the joke.
Yeah, no, when
That's the punchline.
I get her to laugh,
Right.
I know. Like I have jokes in this, all these jokes that are huge in my show, I got her to laugh.
There you go. So you know,
So
right?
And it's a wild,
She's your ghostwriter.
Yeah.
Low-key.
my family, all of them are like that.
Yeah.
There's a crossroads between canceling and funny.
Yeah.
Cancel culture lives right on that line.
Yeah.
So I have to say some crazy things. I always tell people it's not necessarily what I believe. It's just funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been to the show. There's some stuff
Yeah.
that people go
Offside. Offside. Like your granny goes,
Yeah,
funny, huh?
It's
You know
hilarious.
what I mean? It's one of those,
hilarious.
it's one of those.
Hilarious is on that, and I think that with cancel culture, I think that people want to take anybody that wants to take things that seriously. I get emails of people telling me, not a lot, but I get emails. It's just making fun of. I have a joke about mental health in my comedy in my show. Someone complained that you don't understand, making fun of mental health is not. I said actually, if you really listen to the story, it's not about joke. The joke, all these jokes aren't really about me making fun of the thing. So in that joke, I talk about my mental health struggles, and then I speak. And then I start going off south. The point is to have the conversation about mental health. And in that joke, I explain a lot of things about what we are doing wrong. Just use the comedy as a vehicle to get us there. And to get you to laugh at it, let's get to the inappropriate stuff. But, it's just like a way of translating that.
You have to. And that's the thing with comedians now is because everybody's so aware. You now have got to how do you've got like a barrier now in what to work with where you could have actually
in the old days, but the good ones, we all know it's nonsense. No one's been cancelled in comedy yet. It's not because most of the people laugh because like they go like, this is nonsense. It's we know this Braz are being serious.
Yeah, sure.
In fact, would you rather live in a world where no one's making fun of you?
no
one's we are bringing the conversation forward.
For sure.
When I speak about mental health and you don't agree with it and it goes to the socials and it fires up
That's
conversation,
mission complete.
that's important.
Yeah, sure.
Mission
So
complete.
but stop with this cancelling thing.
Please.
We're not cancelling people for words that they are
sure.
saying or the opinions. If we did, we should have started cancelling those racists years ago.
Sure.
We haven't cancelled racists yet. Huh?
Yeah.
We say we have, but
we
we still at these brides laughing at those jokes and not saying, hey, bruh,
we should be
you want to
educating.
come here to me with my entertainment?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But being a comedian for me, like I'm saying, it's always something that I'd aspire to do, and it's so nice to look at because I feel like you give people something that's not physical, but emotionally and mentally you change their state. You know, and I feel like that's something that not many people can do. But people walk out of your show, I guarantee you, feeling 10 times better than they did walking in. And I feel like that's something so beautiful. if I can
it's
call
wonderful.
it that. You know, but
a wonderful
the
thing.
tough part for me is you're having a cuck day.
Yeah.
You've got to go there
no cuck
and
days in my
be
life.
the funniest man in the world.
I have terrible days.
Yeah.
I have days where I haven't slept. I feel miserable. I had an argument with my wife.
Yeah.
But there's something that also happens when you walk out in front of a few hundred people that are happy to see you.
Yeah.
That will change your mood.
Wow.
So shows, the energy in shows, it's not always perfect. But it doesn't matter how bad your days are going. you're a professional at the end of the day. You have to pull yourself together and you got to go out there. You know what I dread the most is when you have loss. Your aunt died or your uncle died or someone close to you died and you have to go and entertain people.
Sure.
You can't stop your life. But this is what the public doesn't understand. We need that because it's like a therapeutic experience to get out there and get your mind off things and to talk about load shedding, whatever the hell you're talking about on your set. It makes you feel happier and lighter. So it does help to have an audience and to have people that come out to see you. Even on the bad days, it makes you happier. On stage, that adrenaline kicks you. You don't have time to think about your horrible days.
You feed from the audience.
Absolutely. The only thing that's really, really an impediment in comedy, and I'm feeling it now, is my fitness. My fitness is something I need to take. Yeah, dude, I do 17 to 20 shows sometimes in a row.
Okay.
And it's an hour and 30 minutes of performing. It takes its toll. And then I take another hour of pictures after with people. Then I go home and I don't speak because I can't lose my voice for the next day. So my wife will normally be sleeping already. And then there'll be, I try not to, but I eat too late at night. Then I go to bed. And then that cycle. I don't speak to anyone until showtime the next day on those long runs. Wow. So having a 5-year-old is tough.
Oh, shame.
Because I play with him and like so Natalie will try and I'll speak to him because I have to engage with this boy. But she will on show runs that are long. My wife plays a critical role. My family plays a role. My dad will be around and go, let's go to the beach, and then they'll take the kid. And and then there's my days off and whatever. But the biggest challenge isn't a bad day. The biggest challenge is my health. It's a difficult, weird life.
I see you made a video with Natalie, your wife, saying you're getting into shape now.
Yeah,
summer body.
I never do it that aggressively. I always go, I hate this. I don't want to go because that's what people are really thinking. The trick is not to tell people what you think they want to think. The comedy works, especially when you're telling the honest truth. Like, I'll, for example, say like I went to the gym the one day and the next day I was like, I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I don't want to go. In fact, I haven't gone since. I'll say, I'm not, because I guarantee you, there's one guy like you that goes, out of 12. You know what I mean? Like it's just being honest. But I'm trying to change my eating patterns and health things very small and gradually. I've done it all, man. I've tried the hard stuff. Just trying to cut down on sugar a little bit this year and then start to move a little instead of just going hard. I've had trainers and oh God, it's just a waste of money.
Just doesn't help. So you've got a new tour.
Yes.
Starting in November?
No, listen, this tour is still running.
It's still running?
I'm still doing Unfit and 40. I've been doing it since last year, November.
Okay.
The show's good. The show's gotten better because it's changed a lot.
And I've seen new dates.
New dates are coming. I'm coming to. It's sold out in Cape Town again.
Wow!
Because what I do is I first do the big fancy theaters and then I try and take it to the people. So now we're doing Athlone and we've sold out there, thankfully. And then I'm doing Athlone, I'm doing Potchefstroom, Art Club. I'm doing my London dates are going to be in February. Then I'm trying to do Europe. So I'm trying to do London. So it's the same show. Every night's different, but it's the same show. Some people come to the show over and over. It's just
really
beautiful. Yeah, I've had
loyal shoppers.
I've had people fly in from a different city. I've had people fly in from countries to come and watch the show.
Wow.
I had a lady that watched the show in Sydney and watched the show in Wellington. Now it sounds like New Zealand and Australia. Now it sounds like a small feat, but it's a 5-hour flight.
Wow.
It's like she's booking an international flight to come and see the show again.
Wow.
So I'm very blessed with my audience.
It's very cool.
But the reality is I run the show out and so there's more dates coming. I'm trying to do a couple of unexpected venues.
Nice.
I take it to people. Like I want to come to Pietermaritzburg. I want to come to Secunda. I want to come to Maptown. I want to come to... Because the show still has a lot of legs in it. A lot of people haven't seen it.
I love that you said, I'm going to come to Pietermaritzburg. And Pietermaritzburg's a far way away.
Pietermaritzburg I've done shows there.
Have you?
Yeah, years ago
Like
with
the
our
Golden Horse.
Zanzi at the Golden Horse.
Yeah.
Me and Jason and Richie and Donovan and Nick Goliath and Glenn Beadham and Pam years ago.
Yeah.
We did a show there. It was great. And I'm coming back. And I think we're going to do well there because I've got a lot of people asking me to come. So I like to take it to all the towns.
That's very cool.
Instead of rushing through, trying to write another one to go back to Cape Town to do, and Cape Town is still supporting the show. Like a lot of people in Cape Town, whenever I put tickets out, it sells out in a day because so many people haven't seen the thing. So I don't want to rush through it.
Yeah.
Not when it's good.
Wow.
The show gets good, man. It's like fruit ripening. And then there's a point at which it becomes,
Yeah.
you must stop now.
The content's enough.
I'm dying now. I'm dying. It's not the audience anymore. It's you. That's your heart's not in it anymore.
Being a doer has been one of the biggest success factors in your career thus far.
Being a guy that gets up and forces himself to go and buy the watermelons and sell it.
Resilience.
You can talk about it, but you've got to do these things.
For sure. Wow.
It's been
I'm in
amazing.
a way.
Yeah.
It's been great having you on and
Thanks,
getting
man.
to sit
I
down.
hope I didn't speak your ears off.
No.
I
not
always
at
in
all.
these
Not at
podcasts, I
all.
go, am I saying too much?
No.
Comedians are very, very
natural.
in the head. I go,
Natural.
Listen,
Let it out.
probably bored of me.
what we wanted is that people know the funny you. You know?
Yeah.
We wanted to know
The other
you.
side. Yeah.
We wanted to know the ups and the downs and
the rough
what
stuff.
it takes to shine as a diamond. You know, a diamond needs extreme
But
pressure to shine.
You guys know. You guys are feeling. I feel it. I can see it. You guys know what it is.
Thank you. Thank you.
Man, the work is necessary and to keep us in balance.
For sure.
The stuff needs to be done. You need to do it.
Yeah.
And you need to reap the benefits of those
sure.
things. And the hard work will keep you humble. Anybody that starts losing it, I look at artists all the time. I'm like, you what? I've been at venues where the guy goes, nah, I want my rider is. I'm like, rider? I want a nice, can you give me a bottle of water? Let's go. As soon as people become divas, it's because they are not, they forgot or they're not working actually as hard. You don't know it's over yet. I'm always in crisis. I don't know if you guys have this feeling.
What's that? And always
Like
in crisis.
people go, oh, it's going so well, but I'm in a state of crisis. I go, I don't know what's going to happen
we
next
have
year.
that. Yeah.
I don't know. This is but we've got this thing now. But what's next year? What is next?
Yeah.
You know, it's always like
Surely.
Just enjoy the journey, though, man.
And
it's
we're
pleasure.
looking forward to the journey
guys.
and we'll be supporting you. And I just want to thank you for taking the time out and making it to spend time with us and
Thanks
the
so
audience
Thanks for
much.
as
having
well.
me,
We
guys.
really appreciate
It's a good
it, man.
podcast. See you
Thank
guys
you.
in a year or two,
Fantastic.
6.
For sure.
We'll
Cheers.
see you at the top.
Fantastic. Wow.
Yeah, give me all your attention. One time for the misfits. Through the doors open on the highway, I promise you don't want to miss this.